he wanted to do a bit of a circuit. And he traveled alone, but in that sort of subculture of climbers, people make friends easily because they have so much in common, and they will help each other climb together and share knowledge together. So anyway, his first stop was in Australia in the Blue Mountain area, which I believe is north of Sydney. And he made friends with a young guy who actually lived in the area, who was experienced with the climbing area in that part of the Blue Mountains. And so they did a few climbs, and then they set off one day on this other climb. And in these popular areas, quite often the pitons, the anchors, are already been established by previous climbers. You know, it's like they drill or pound into locations these anchors so that when you're climbing in a dangerous situation, you clip your rope to them as you go up. So anyway, this route that they chose had these anchors already in place, and so they climbed way up, and they took turns leading. There were just the two of them. There were other climbers doing similar climbs nearby, and so Andrew and his friend took turns leading. Like, that means the first person to go. So the first person would go up, and they'd be roped together so that if one slipped, they'd only go so far, and his friend would be anchored and would catch him, and then they would decide what to do. So anyway, the other young guy took over from Andrew at this particular point and was climbing up, and he did slip and sort of slid and fell down to this ledge that Andrew was on, and so he was safe, maybe bruised a little bit. And so he was standing there on this ledge, again attached. His rope was attached to his harness, and that in turn was attached to Andrew, and Andrew was attached to an anchor by the ledge. And so the young guy was sort of standing back looking to see, maybe we should go this way instead of that way, because that one, I slipped. And as he was doing that, he accidentally slid off the ledge and fell down. And again, the ropes were all attached, so I guess Andrew tried to hang on. But the unfortunate thing is, when the rope tightened, the length of it shortened, it cut on the ledge of the rock. It was a sharp rock, and the rope cut right through it, and he fell 100 meters, died. It's like 100 meters straight down in the rocks. So, of course, Andrew was traumatized, and he was alone at that point. But other climbers around him had seen what had happened, and so somebody called for help, for a helicopter or a rescue crew. And in the meantime, several worked their way over, and they helped Andrew get to the top of this climb. I guess they figured maybe he could be rescued from the top of the climb. So eventually, everybody came down, and I guess they picked up the boy who died. And Andrew had to go to some kind of a hearing, report to the authorities, and they examined all their equipment. And the equipment that Andrew and his friend had been using was practically new. There was nothing wrong with the equipment. But the result of the investigation was that the anchors that had been put in improperly, put in by somebody not experienced. And even though they had tested them as they'd gone up, I guess this particular one was loose, and they gave way. So about that time, maybe several days later, he phoned home, and I wasn't home, so he phoned his brother, Ben. And Ben wasn't home, but Lisa was home, so he told the story to her because he was still in shock, And she said, "Oh, Andrew, you should just come home. Just come home and cut your climbing time short." And he said, "Well, I don't think I can go yet because there's still some investigations going on, and I have to deal with the boy's parents." And he said, "But once we get that settled, I think I'd still like to at least go to New Zealand and look around there while I'm this far." So then I guess Lisa must have got his contact number somehow and talked to Ben. And Ben talked to his brothers, and they agreed to offer to pay my way down to spend some time with Andrew. They thought that he was all alone, alone in Australia, alone in New Zealand. So anyway, an agreement was made that they would arrange for me to fly down to New Zealand, and Andrew would meet me in New Zealand. And so we managed that, and we spent 10 days together, the two of us. Normally, Andrew is not very talkative, but some of our hikes, he talked quite a bit. It's kind of working through the experience. So we did some hiking, we did some backpacking in the different parts in the Southern Alps. I remember that. And then he booked a 2-day experience kayaking in the Tasman Sea, just north of the South Island. So anyway, we spent 10 days together. He rented a car, and we did hiking. We did backpacking. We have some really good experiences, memories of that. Hiking up to the top of this mountain, and the clouds come in, and we kind of keep heading up and up and up. Just we get to the top, clouds break, and the sun comes pouring down. And then we start to go down, and then the clouds close in again, and we can't see anywhere where we're going. But he had a compass, so we headed in the right direction, and we ended up getting down where we're supposed to go. Anyway, little memories like that.